Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be messages for the sign of Virgo in the month of October 2018. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your general readings for October 2018. Shuffled ahead of time, so you can see your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading will begin. You can find that time in the description box below. Also down below is information on how to get personal readings with me if you feel so inclined. If you want to work with me, I want to work with you. It's very simple. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get your outcome for October 2018. Virgo's outcome, October 2018. Yep. Whoa. Alright. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. That was pretty quick. Your cards came out pretty quick in general. Ooh. Alright. Boop. There we go. Alright, please show me Virgo. Coming into October 2018, please show me Virgo. Where's Virgo, please? Here? Okay. Is that right? Strange. 1 second. Where is Virgo? Please show me. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, be clear next time. Sorry. Got a little spicy there. Okay. Virgo, you come into October with the Tower card in reverse, but I'm showing it to you upright, just so you can become familiar with the deck. And this is the Santa Muerte deck by Fabio Lestrani. But like I said, your card came in reverse, so the Tower. So, Virgo, excuse me. For some of you, you've kind of escaped a bad situation or a bad outcome or destructive outcome or destructive situation. Some of you dodged a bullet, so to speak, or that bullet is delayed. And I hate to use that terminology or phrasing or whatever, but that's kind of the nice little cliche that came into my head. For some of you, you've absolutely averted a mess. Like, you absolutely got out of the way or got out of a situation that could have been really, really detrimental or really, really dramatic and upsetting and crazy. So a lot of you have consciously stepped out of the room, is how they made me say that. Stepped out of the room. You've consciously moved away from what was about to be a train wreck. Others of you, it's this Tower situation, this Tower moment is still coming. It's just delayed. And it could be anything, okay? So Tower, a lot of times is interpreted as a card of total destruction, the ripping down of a building or some type of structure that had a faulty foundation and it was going to crumble from the moment it was constructed. It's just now we've reached the tipping point in Jenga and all of those little blocks are going to fall to the floor, right? So that idea is true for those who this is a delay. You know it's faulty, you know things are not going to get better, or you know that things are on the precipice of just on that edge of totally falling off over the edge and into the chasm below. A lot of you know that's sort of what's coming for you, or that kind of is likely going to result. And you just have to do damage control. Like you're setting, like you're getting stuff in motion to make sure that the fallout from the destruction, from the chaos, isn't as bad. For those where it's a complete dodge, yeah, because you left the situation. Something didn't work out for other people, or something didn't work out in this particular situation, but you removed yourself, and the damage that you witnessed, experienced, whatever, is really minimal. It's really minimal. So again, you dodged a bullet. Now, when you dodge a bullet, like if you literally think about it, you're not the person who's injured. You don't experience any type of physical damage to your body, but it's still a traumatic experience to have been shot at, right? If you literally think about a bullet whizzing past your ear, past your body, or, you know, you realize, oh my God, if I didn't bend over to tie my shoes at that exact moment, I would have been shot in the chest. Like, that's a crazy thought. You know what I mean? So whatever you removed yourself from, the impact that it has on you is more of a mental thing. Like, it's screwing with your mind. Like, it's messing with your head. Like, man, just think, if I didn't, you know, get on that bus at that time, this would have happened. If I didn't send that email or read that email in time, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's a whole lot of, if I didn't do this, it could have been much worse. Or if I, and that can play on your mind, because if someone else suffers and you don't, from a similar fallout, from a similarly bad situation, or that exact same situation, it kind of can mess with you. I hate to bring this into it, but that's kind of like, thanks guys. They're like linking it to like survivor's guilt for some of you. Survivor's guilt. Like, if I had been driving the car that night, you know, blah, 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 what, you can fill in the blank there. If that sort of is hitting home for you in some cases. If I had have done this, or if I did this instead of that, then these people might still be here, might be some of the, of your situations. Or in a darker, more macabre way, if I had done this or had not done that, I would be gone with these people, or I would be gone instead of them. So some of you might be struggling with that. Straight up. That's pretty damn dark, but that's pretty damn clear in my mind. And again, this is a general reading. If it doesn't apply, if you don't experience that, don't say, hey, I didn't. It's not for you. Okay. So yeah, for some of you, it's like you literally missed out on the biggest, most destructive part of this Tower card. Others of you, it's delayed, and others of you, it's just, it didn't hit you directly, but it hit other people that you know. Okay? Wow. Yeah. Right there. Okay. And partnering into what I was just speaking about as far as survivor's guilt and things like that, you have this Judgment card right next to your starting position. So the Judgment card, which just came up in Leo's reading that I just did, but theirs was different in a different position and all that. But the sentiment is sort of the same here, where linking it or using the biblical understanding of judgment, which I have a very loose understanding of because I wasn't raised religiously or anything like that. But this idea of reckoning, this idea of final judgment, this idea of calling up the dead and sorting out the good from the bad, sorting out the believers from the non-believers, the faithful and the heathens, like this idea of there being a finite black and white decision regarding a circumstance or regarding a situation or a relationship or whatever it is. And so for you, Virgo, I feel as though some of you feel that that's what happened, or that is what's going to happen, or that is what needs to happen. For those who you feel that's what happened, going back to those who were talking about survivor's guilt, and I mean the imagery on the card is very, it can be difficult, right? This is clearly set in a graveyard or a burial site. There are mourners. You've got that angel of, well, I guess it's not an angel of death. What is it? It is an angel, but this is a bird in this one. In the traditional Rider-Waite, it's like an angel playing a horn, calling up the dead. So I'm not sure what the significance is of this bird that's a skull is, but I'm getting this idea as being the same. It's like some of you Virgos are looking at your situation as being divine, as being sort of guided by some higher power, okay? Or looked at by, like, you know, looked at and reviewed and passed judgment on by a higher power, okay? Some of you are looking at it that way. Others of you are just feeling like, in a more spiritual way or a more philosophical way, you know, is what happened to me, is what happened to so-and-so, is what happened to this person or these people, is that reflected on or somehow related to this? Like, you're trying to sort of connect the dots and get some grander understanding, and some of you are needing to do that or wanting to do that because of closure, needing things to sort of be resolved in that way. Like, you can accept it better if you come to a conclusion that it was out of your hands, it was not your fault, it couldn't have been avoided, things like this, okay? I hope that makes sense to those who need to hear that. For those where it's not about the survival's guilt, it's not about something super traumatic or something involving a great loss in that way, I think this is more of like an idea of did you make the right decision for yourself? I think that you would be passing judgment on your own actions, Virgo. You would be looking back, quote unquote, over your sins. You would be, you know, your own jury, judge, and executioner, so to speak. And I'm not sure that that is necessarily a good thing in this particular case. And for those where it's more religious or spiritual or philosophical, and you're having to come to terms with your own guilt and your own trauma, different. That's a different thing. For those where it's not about that, it is about your own judgment of self. Okay? Judgment of your own judgment calls, your own actions, your own decisions, and capabilities and things like that. Some of you, like your own character. Thank you. For those where you're kind of judging your own character in the context of this tower moment that you have experienced, or that you did not experience, you almost experienced it, or that you had like a small it affected you but not as badly as other people. Like, you're basically, like I said, you're judging yourself, kind of comparing what you experienced, how you feel, how you reacted to other people, and you're kind of making it like, am I a good person? Should I have said that? Should I have done that? Could I have done this differently? Could, you know, and you are holding yourself accountable, which I commend you for, but I think you might be struggling with moving past this. Like, for some of you, this tower moment that you missed, like that didn't affect you, but you know about it, or that you experienced, but on a smaller scale, that could have been a long time ago, potentially. But you're still like, was that right for me to do this? Was it right for me to say that? How could I have reacted differently? Things like this. Maybe I shouldn't have... Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have gone there. Things like that. And there's this feeling of like, not rehashing regularly, but maybe it's coming up again for some reason. Something is dredging this experience up, or this memory up for some of you, and you're having to relive it so to speak, or go over the events again, or if it's a falling out in a relationship, you have to go see that person again, an ex, a relative that you hadn't spoken to for 10 years, something like that. You have to go back to that moment where the tower came down, or the tower came down, but you jumped out of the way, you know? I think at the beginning I said something about deciding to leave a room. So for some of you, you have to reconcile that moment when you left a room to avoid a tower moment of whatever kind. Maybe you were avoiding an argument. Maybe you were avoiding, you know, having to make a decision. Maybe you were avoiding, in some cases, the pain of loss, like the witnessing of a loss. I hope you get what I'm kind of hinting at there. Some of you left a room where a loss was about to occur, and now you have to go back and rethink. Not rethink, but you're remembering it. Something's reminding you of it. Someone is coming back who knows, you know what I mean? I hope you get what I'm talking about, because it's this feeling of, I want to have final judgment on this situation, on this relationship, on these experiences. I want to be able to bury it. But something has called it back up. Some angel in the sky, something circumstantial in your life, something serendipitous, whatever. Just something coincidental. Just, it feels like, I thought I was over this, or I thought I had avoided this, or I thought I could have been healed from this, but not the case. Not the case, okay? Yeah. Yeah. And I think, Virgo, a lot of you, 4 Wands here, have been really focused on or concerned with how this affects your structure, how this affects your stability, how this affects what you're able to produce, what you're able to offer, what you're able to create. There we go. Thank you. This here feels really connected, really intense, in a lot of ways sort of subconscious or subterranean, like deep inside. The rest of this feels kind of external, these other 4. But these 2 here are like in partnership. They talk to each other. They kind of, okay, fine. In some cases, they own you, whatever that might mean to you. These 2 energies, the Tower and the Judgment card, 2 major arcanas, kind of own you. For some of you. Not all of you. For some of you. And you really can't get away from these feelings, these thoughts, this circumstance that, you know, again, this is important for somebody, but for someone out there with this survivor's guilt scenario, for some of you, it keeps coming back up because you see someone, somewhere, in your dreams, in reality, online, whatever, that constantly brings you back to that moment of loss, that moment of tragedy, and you just cannot put it to bed. So that's why this is like so, in that case, this is why it's so heavily paired together, you know. For others, it's going to be circumstantial in your jobs, in your careers, in your family life, wherever. You know, these 2 are major arcanas. They're not really hitting in any particular area for me. But for those with the survivor's guilt scenario, it's very much tied to that exact moment where the trauma happened, when the loss happened, okay? For others, you know, fit it where it fits. If it doesn't, in any case, if none of this fits, it doesn't belong to you. But if it does, that's what I'm feeling for you guys. Now, again, these are like really internal, your emotional space, your mental space. You know, like I said, I think, yeah, I just said that for some of you, you're seeing people in your dreams. You might be having very vivid, very lifelike dreams that are not necessarily about a trauma or a loss, but definitely brings this energy up for you, and you then have it in the back of your mind all day. Kind of is what I'm getting. And this is all what's going on outside of you, what you're actually doing in your day-to-day, right? So your Four of Wands is down here with this. So your structure, your stability, your foundation is heavily tied to this energy here with the Tower and the Judgment card. Heavily tied. Your ability to perform as an individual, to live in an autonomous life is tied to it, strung up with it. And some of you are succeeding, because I do get this sense of, in this card, which is different than the Rider-Waite deck, you have this woman who's at like a flower stand, or this figure at a flower stand, or fruit stand, whatever you want to call it, and running a business. Some of you are running a business, and you're successful at it. There's flowers in bloom here. It's a very vibrant card. It's a very full card. So a lot of you have a foundation that, for all intents and purposes, is going pretty well. You got a roof over your head, bills are paid on time, food is stocked in the fridge, you're running a business, you're turning a profit, your employees are happy, you're being rewarded for being one of the best local businesses, whatever. Your career is going well, you've been promoted, you've got more money coming in on your paychecks every week, or whatever it is. So there is success in this Four of Wands, and that could be, thank you, wow. And that could be why some of you are judging yourselves so hard. How can I be so happy, so contented? How can I be, reveling in this positivity over here when behind me, behind closed doors, in the darkest of night, in my memory, there's this pain, there's this suffering, there's this loss, there's this inability for you to allow yourself to align fully with your success, align fully with your moves towards stability, your consideration of your own foundations. In some cases, maybe back here with the Tower and the Judgment card, some of you have had to sacrifice yourselves or give to others. And you gave and you gave and you gave, and then something happened, and now you're quote unquote free from having been tied to others, and now you focused on yourself, self-sufficiency, stabilizing your own life, making yourself happy, providing your own needs. Yet some of you feel guilty for doing that. I feel that's sort of like a curveball message for a few of you, but some of you are just like looking out for number one, and you feel bad about it. You're like, you feel guilty that you've left someone behind, that someone couldn't match you, couldn't get on your level, that you had to cut someone out of your life because they were using you, because they were taking advantage of you, and you're judging yourself. You're not allowing yourself to be released from that guilt, to be released from that criticism, that self-criticism that you might have going on inside of you, Virgo. Let it go. No matter what it is. Try your best to let it go. And not let it go, willy-nilly, like throw it across the room like it's a frisbee or, an old pizza box or something like that. No, you have to release it constructively. You have to really work on it. You have to really consider what it is you're trying to release, meditate on it, pray on it, go see a counselor, see a therapist, whatever you have to do to practically get over it. But you really have to put in that work, because I feel it here, that this Four of Wands, you've put in a lot of work, money, time, effort, whatever, creativity, dreams, and you're moving towards this Four of Wands energy if you're not already in it. And the Four of Wands isn't like guaranteed success or anything like that, but it shows, like I said, like a strong foundation, a strong structure is being put in place so that you can have what you want. You can build the house of your dreams. You can build the family of your dreams, the career of your dreams. You can have the relationship that you strongly desire. You can have, you can have the children you desire. Or you can, like I said, start that family that you've always wanted to start. And I think I'm talking to somebody here about the kids and the family and the relationship who have lost through tragedy, through other means, okay? You just have to release from this. But like I said, when I came to the Four of Wands in the beginning, this is tied in a string right here. This is a strain right here on your bottom row. You have to get out of that. You have to get these two cards away from that Four of Wands, okay? Now, I think you're having... No, that's not the word. What? I think you're having like a bisectional reading. Leo had one in a weird way with like the corners. I think yours is like above and below. So I think the surface of you, or not the surface of you, the subterranean or the below deck, sure. The below surface part of you is going through what I was just talking about. Above deck, above ground, on the surface, however you want to phrase it. I see some of you are like minding your money. You're on your P's and Q's. You're really concerned about stocking your resources, having enough. But you're dealing, in a lot of ways, you're what's going on below the surface, below deck, is in some ways reflected above deck or on the surface or above the surface. I'm trying to figure out these two. Just a second. Oh. Got you. Okay. Where are we going? Just tell me that. Where are we going? Here. Okay, thank you. So, Page of Swords. Above your Four of Wands position. So, for some of you, I feel like for some of you, this can be an external person. Page of Swords could be an air sign, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but it doesn't have to be. But for those where this is like an external person, this might be a business partner or someone that you're taking care of. So some of you, this might be, a kid of yours, one of your children, but a page, it can talk about children, but I'm not seeing like little kid. I'm seeing like adolescent, teenager kind of person, or age, I guess, of a person, or like I said, a business partner. But again, if this is someone external to you, they're wet behind the ears, they're not super experienced, they could be a student, this person is sitting behind a desk, not in front of books, but they're composing a letter. So this person could be, having to write papers for, their classes, or what are they called? This is going to show how old I am. Book reports, but nobody calls anything a book report anymore. But things like this. So this person is like in the process or in the regular practice of having to create written word, written messages, written ideas, things like that. And again, if this is someone external to you, they tie to your foundation. They tie to your structure, your home base, so to speak. What is the focal point of your life right now? Or not the focal point, but what is very central to your stability or your growth. Thank you. This person is tied to that. And in some cases, they are, it's strange. Like, they are a student. Like, they themselves are still learning. They themselves, nobody's perfect, but I'm going to use that word. They themselves are not perfect. They're still working on their own crap. They've got their own insecurities and inexperience and you know, they're still learning their lessons. But at the same time, they're teaching you something. So this could be, like I said, you might need to speak to a counselor or a therapist. This could be someone like that. It could be someone who's very much new into that field, into that profession. They might have just graduated, you know, with their master's or their doctorate or whatever. But you're giving them a shot, you're making appointments with them, you're talking to them, and like they're only like, you know, 28 years old, and you're like, how am I getting advice from a 28-year-old and I'm like 62? Or, you know, they're still learning in the sense of maybe they're like honing their sort of like they're still learning more about whatever their field is. Does that make sense? Like they're still becoming more and more professional. Excuse me. For others of you where this is your kid, it's your teenager or your college-age kid, or it could be someone, it could be a child. They would be then teaching you things like unexpectedly. Like, oh, you know, not from like a textbook teaching you, or not from like a, well, according to these studies kind of way. It's like they're just like, you're observing them and you're like, huh, I never knew that, or I never thought of that, whatever you're doing. And again, this person is integral to your foundation. So of course, children are integral to your foundation. If you are interested in sustaining a home, or if you're concerned with and having to constantly sustain a home, your child would be of interest to you. Your child and their well-being, their welfare would be of interest to you, and you have to pay close attention to them. And again, you're teaching this person as much as they are teaching you. Like, there's like this exchange of energy, there's this exchange of information and perspective and communication between you two, all that kind of stuff. This, again, could also be a business partner. So some of you might be getting into business with someone who's younger than you, someone who is less experienced than you, but maybe they have brilliant ideas that might need a little bit of, like, guidance, or need to be kind of polished up and you know, put into a proposal. You know what I mean? So there's this compromise that you're kind of having with this person. You're having to have constructive conversations. There's a lot of communication between you in this Page of Swords. And again, as much as you're helping them, they're helping you. Like, I just get like this reciprocal, cyclical kind of thing going on. And there's like a slight worry about it. Like, there's trepidation, I feel, on your part. Like, you're like, I like this. I like this person. I love this person, if they're a child or a significant other or a business partner. Like, you know, you care deeply for this person, or you care a lot about this person. Not just about what they do for you and what they mean towards your foundation and towards your future stability. But no, you really honestly care about this person. But there's something about them, or there's something about the dynamic between you that gives you pause, makes you go, I don't know. I need to be careful with them, or I need to be careful with what I say around them, what I do. Like, not like a walking on eggshells kind of thing, but in some cases that might be true, but it's more of like I don't want to blow it. I don't want to blow it with this person. Not necessarily walk around on eggshells, but I don't want to blow it. I don't want to say something that would make them leave, or make them retract, or take away what they're contributing to this situation. I don't want to offend them. In other cases, it's like I don't know. I can't trust you. This is too good to be true. Are you sure you're my son? Who are you? You went away to college for a year, and you're coming home and you're saying, Mom, Dad, let me do this with the house, or let me do this with your finances because I'm learning about blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, you want my $5,000 that's in my savings, and you're going to do what? By the end of the year, by the end of 2019, you're saying that I'm going to double my money? Who are you? You know, it's like this person has, I think I said that, they have like a lot of great ideas that need to be polished, or they seem like kind of radical because this person is so young, or they're so fresh in your life. If they're not young, they're just new to you. Like, your relationship with them is like a few years in the making, so to speak. And whatever they're offering to you, whatever they're suggesting to you, sounds good on paper, sounds good in their pitch, but you're kind of like, I don't know. Can I trust it? If it's your therapist, they're like, I want you to look in the mirror for 5 minutes a day and do positive affirmations every day. And again, you're like in your 50s or 60s and you're listening to this young millennial tell you to stare yourself in the mirror and give yourself positive affirmations for a week. And after a week, tell me how you feel. And you're like, what kind of hippy dippy crap are you talking about? You're crazy. Why do I pay you? But you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. So despite their ideas being kind of out of the box, out of left field, very strange, you're still like, I think I'm going to go along with this because you value the person, you value the relationship you have, this reciprocated communication that's going on with you. What you give to them, they in some way are equally giving you back something. You're exchanging values and you like it. But there's something about them or the situation or what they're saying and or doing that you're like, I don't know, can I trust it? Can I do it? And that, of course, is tied to judgment. And you're like, oh no, I don't know. And, yep. Next door to that Page of Swords, you have the Three of Swords, which is very different from the traditional Rider-Waite. For God's sakes, there's people on it, not just a heart with 3 swords in it. And what always trips me out about this card in this deck is that it is definitely a depiction of backstabbing. You know, you've got one figure jamming 2 swords in the back of this one that's offering up a third, and there's blood on the ground and blood on the sword and everything like that. So it definitely depicts this idea of betrayal, excuse me. You know, being trusting and then being backstabbed. And that, I think, is sort of like what you're cautious of with this person. And what you're cautious of in general is you don't want to be the victim of a backstabbing situation, or you don't want to make someone else feel that way. And I think that's specifically tied to this person. Is that what's going on? Wait, let me see. Is that what this is? Got it. You know, the way I do my reading, because I think a lot of people might not understand how I do my readings. I work in patterns and like symbols or things that are symbolic. I work with symmetry a lot. Like, I wish I could describe it to you better, but my mind is oftentimes really, it gravitates towards things being done in a symmetrical way or being presented in that way, which is how, for Leo's reading, again, this is a huge aside, I apologize, but I'm trying to explain it because for some, this is like, you know, I've talked about it before, where other readers would do past, present, future, and like, it's very linear. That doesn't always speak to me. I really go off of symmetry and like balance and things like that. So that's why I like to do 6 and then 2 here. Like, I really, you know, anyway. So for Leo's reading, they had a symmetrical, balanced reading because they had a corner here, right? 1, 2, 3. And they had a corner here. 1, 2, 3. And other times I will have it be the corners talk, these talk, and it always balances, and it's always symmetrical. And I'm just not I'm not a linear reader, you know, as you can tell. I don't always start in the same position. That's why I'm like, where is this zodiac sign? I pick up the card and then I go. And oftentimes we end up with something symmetrical, and that's what's going on here. You see how I told you before that these two cards, your Tower card and your Judgment card, are linked together. They work together. Their energies are intertwined, and those two energies are touching and having a string effect with the Four of Wands, which is where, like I said, that's like a big focal point in your life. Symmetrically and sort of in a mirror situation, you're getting that up here. This Page of Swords is being tied to this Three of Swords. And how I said down here, the Tower and the Judgment card are like a perception. You can't let it go. You can't really release. It's not healed. All that kind of stuff. Here, you can't put your finger on it. You can't articulate it. You can't really to offer a logical explanation. But something about this person, this Page of Swords, worries you. You're worried and you're anxious or fearful and just cautious in the Three of Swords. Now, I haven't really spoken about romance, but quickly, if this is a romantic partner, thank you. Okay. For those where this could be a romantic partner, this could be someone very new to your life, and they come after you've lost someone else. Okay? Survivor's guilt, going back to that whole conversation, okay? So this could be someone else who's coming in place of your ex-partner, your ex-husband, or, you know, your deceased partner, okay? And they're fantastic. They're really energetic. They have a lot of great ideas. You guys are connecting on this mental level. They're giving something to you that you haven't had in a while. You're giving something to them. It's like this wonderful exchange. But in the back of your mind somewhere, Virgo, I've got the Three of Swords, you're afraid to get deeper with them. You're afraid to be vulnerable with them. You're afraid to replace or put them in the person who's gone. You're afraid to put this person in place of the one that was there before. Oh, God, yes. Thank you. I'm sorry. I hate to get excited about this, but that totally makes sense. If you were to put this person in, excuse me, put them in the place of the person who was there before, you would be the one perpetrating a betrayal. You would be stabbing your partner who's no longer here. For whatever reason, you would be stabbing that person in the back. In some cases, like I said, this is your kid. Not necessarily that you're... Not to say that this person... God, how am I saying? Not saying that you're having a relationship with your child, but your child also could be here alongside this new person. So if you got with this new person, you would be hurting and betraying your child by getting with another partner. That happens all the time. You know, I'm not a parent myself, but I know many, and I have been a child in a situation very similarly. There's this idea of, that's not my father, that's not my mother, why would you bring this person around me? You don't want to hurt your kids' feelings. You don't want them to be upset with you. You don't want them to reject your new partner. There's just this idea of something with this new person, romantically speaking, where if they come in, if you allow them in, if you open up and you're vulnerable to them, there's a potential for you and other people to be hurt. And you're judging yourself by that. That could be the delay of the Tower moment. The moment they step in and you allow that door to be fully open, then the Tower comes upright and then the Judgment comes. God, this is very... you guys got a good reading. It's very layered. But you guys got to me, a very succinct, clear reading. For those where it's not a romantic situation, again, it could be like a therapist or someone who you're in business with. There is this idea of, can I really trust the things that this person is advising me to do? Can I trust their input? Can I trust that they're going to back me financially, or that they're going to be worth the investment? You know, are their ideas sound? All that kind of stuff. You're just like, I don't know. And this Three of Swords is like I don't want to end up here. I don't want to end up hurt. I don't want them to be hurt. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want my child to be hurt. I don't want this person to be hurt. And You're very cautious. Very cautious, okay? Now, in the corner with your Four of Wands, you have your Seven of Swords. So again, this is like a mirror, it's like a mirrored symmetrical thing. How Four of Wands is talking about stability and foundations and having, you know, proper structure in place to build upon, to get to a new place, to get to a greater place of expansion, of growth. The Seven of Pentacles is very similar energy. For those who aren't old enough to know, this guy is working on an abacus. Abacus, right? That's how you say it? Abacus. For some reason, I'm thinking I'm saying that wrong, but I hope I'm not. But for something in like, isn't that how you say it? Abacus? Yeah, abacus. Why am I? Anyway, so more about stability, more about structure, more about having enough, making sure that all of the moving pieces are where they need to be, that the machine is going to run well. It's also, since it is talking about Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, it is talking about withholding finances, or not withholding, but making sure that there's enough to cover the expenses, to cover the cost, everything like that, and being smart with money. So for some of you, like I said, this could be a financial advisor, and you're like, I don't know if I can trust you, or it's your kid coming home from college, give me the $5,000, mom, I will put it here, and we're gonna, you know, by the end of 2019, we're gonna be making this much money a month, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, you're in your home office, busting out your abacus, and you're like, all right, my kid wants $5,000, and if I do this, blah, 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 blah. So there's this idea of being calculated and being careful in your dealings with this person, because you know it ties to your foundations. You know it ties to the structure that you're setting up for your future, or the next phase in your life. And there is this imagery of this person being, you know, withheld or behind a gate or bars. So again, there's just something you're holding back, and that could be it. It could be it in a financial situation. It could be, all right, you need $5,000, my kid, my financial advisor, whoever, or I'm paying this much for this. I don't want to lose money, so I have to then recalculate or figure out how much more money I have to put away a month to cover up, or to start building a cushion, because I'm about to be out $5,000 because I'm going to start investing, or I'm going to give money to my kids so that they can start up their business or something like that. So there's this idea of making sure you keep enough behind the gate for yourself, for your future. Not giving, no Virgo would, giving all that you've ever saved to something without having a backup plan. Virgos, you guys love a backup plan, don't you? So there's that feeling. And in the case of a romantic situation, it could be, you know, I like you, we're going to talk, we're going to go out on a few dates, da-da-da-da-da, but I reserve the right to end this, I reserve the right to ghost you, I reserve the right to see other people. Like, you're just not going to fully dive into this new person, the relationship that you have with them. You're just not going to do that. So you've got a lot of layers here, Virgo, but to me, they're like clearly defined layers. I hope that has come across here. Now, outcome for October. A lot of repeating cards between yours and Leo's. I shouldn't say a lot, just two, but color scheme, a little bit of a repeat. Anyway, Ace of Swords is your outcome. Now, Ace of Swords is about clarity, it's about truth, it's about honesty, biting on honesty sometimes, and just this idea of having clear intentions and ability to communicate. And I think that's kind of important for you. Like, as much as I was going on and on in the beginning about the Tower card and the Judgment card, and I was feeling like really passionate about how prevalent that energy was, I also feel that it is sort of in your past, or you're coming out of it, like you're stepping away from it, and you have the ability to transcend it, you have the ability to let it go, to heal from it, to finally put it to rest. You just have to actively work on it. And I think a lot of that is going to come from having to be truthful with yourself and with others, but a lot of it is with yourself. Like, if I was going to quantify it, I would probably say 60-40 or 70-30. 60 or 70% truthful with yourself, 30 to 40% truthful with others. Not the rate of truthfulness, but like where your focus is, like how conscious you have to be of when and where and how the truth is expressed or not manifested, but cultivated and adhered to. So if you have to consciously think of or consider how to express your truth, or when and where to express your truth, you want to put the majority of that time and effort on yourself, and then give some out to others too. You know, like if like maybe you're tasked with that from a counselor or a therapist. Virgo, I want you to be 100% truthful, which is a crazy thing that I don't think any therapist would say. But let's say that was your homework assignment. Be 100% truthful all the time. Okay. That then should be applied to you 60 to 70% of the time. So if you have an issue with like binge eating or eating your feelings, and you reach for a cupcake, you would stop yourself and say, am I really hungry? Do I really need a sugary snack? Or am I eating this cupcake because I'm upset about something? That's where the majority of your energy should go. If someone in your office is like, hey, I'm doing this after work, do you want to come? And you say, no, I have plans. That is technically, you're telling them a white lie, but don't beat yourself up about it. I hope that makes sense. Like the truth that needs to come out, or that needs to be sort of adhered to, or sort of honored, is mostly towards yourself. You know, if you have to go back and rerun this pain, this trauma, and say, you know, I have been making myself feel guilty, I have been punishing myself, I have been judging myself for moving on, for wanting to have another relationship, for wanting to, for those who have experienced this, have another child. You would have to be truthful and admit that you were beating yourself up for feeling that way. You felt guilty. You felt sorrowful. You felt depressed, or you still feel those ways. You just have to admit it. I think that's sort of like, for lack of a better phrasing, I feel like that type of truth will set you free, because I really think this is what is hindering you, Virgo, these two together. This a little bit, but I think if you get rid of this, or you somehow dissipate that, or get that to be minimized, you can also get these to kind of, you know, relax or loosen up and not really worry you as much, okay? And it could just be also you're having clarity of thought. You could be, you know, having counseling sessions, or starting this new relationship, or getting into partnership with someone else gives you certain clarity, allows your mind to open up, you know, allows your ideas to flow more freely, okay? Overall for the month, wow, what was that? Excuse me. Overall for the month is the Six of Wands. So a card of success. One of the cards of success in the tarot. Traditional, and this in this deck as well. And I'm feeling that. I'm feeling like, not like a grand success, not like the best, the most coveted or anything like that. But I do feel progress. I feel positive progress towards whatever you're trying to do. Release pain, release guilt, get into business, find financial footing, find love. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're moving towards, whatever you think is what you need in life, you're going to move towards it. And you will become, not become, but you're going to feel more successful. You're going to feel more invigorated and emboldened by whatever you're moving towards. Releasing the pain, having a new relationship, like I said, going into business, seeing a therapist, whatever you're doing, you're going to feel rewarded along the way. Progressive rewards, step by step. Each level, like each step you take, each level you move up, it's like, oh, that feels good. I'm going to do it again. Oh, it feels good to talk to this person. I'm going to see them again. Oh, it feels good to, admit that I was doing this in the past, or I was beating myself up over this. And, or like I said, I think I might have said it earlier for you guys, or if not, I said it for Leo. But some of you, this might be a spiritual thing. This might be a religious thing. So maybe you're going back to the church, or you're getting into a new religion, Buddhism, whatever. Islam, I don't care what it is. And you're reading more holy books, or you're practicing more meditation or yoga. And every time you do it, every time you get involved in whatever is new and whatever is calling to you, is making you feel comfortable, the more you do it, the more you're going to get like this, the more you're going to feel like this, and it's just going to continue for you. You just have to stop beating yourself up. You have to stop judging yourself so harshly, and you have to stop being so afraid. Feeling like being vulnerable to the situation, vulnerable to the person, being open to it is going to somehow hurt you. Let that go. I mean, it's not as easy as me saying that and, it's over, I did it. No, of course not. But definitely have that be conscious in your mind, be a clear thought for you, okay? All right, Virgo, that's your reading for October. I hope it resonated with you. If it did, let me know about it in the comment section below. I would love to hear your stories. You can also hit the like button if you like what you saw here. I would appreciate that. Also, feel free to share the video. That would be amazing. Subscriptions are also welcome. Also, hit that bell notification so that you know when these videos are uploaded, even if they are late. I do apologize. And anyway, I will be back in about 3 weeks when I do your November messages. Until then, I thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Bye.